Celtics fans, go on ahead and like this video for me. The more likes this video gets, that means more wins the Boston Celtics will have for this upcoming 2023 NBA season. Go on ahead and smash that like button for me. There's a new 7-foot center that has entered the city of Boston. I'll have all of the information about the newest two-way contract signee, where he's coming from, and what he's going to offer Boston this upcoming season. But also, we're going to be talking about more drama from Malcolm Brogdon. Now, apparently, he's not happy with the front office about being included in these trade talks, so I'll break down what's been going on this past offseason. This all started when a tweet came out from Sham saying that Boston has now signed the two-way contract, Neemias Queta to a two-way contract. He just previously played for the Stockton Kings in the GLeague over the past 2 years. He's 24 years old. Did I mention that he's 7 feet tall? I know that's not a big deal to Boston fans because you've already got Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, but still, he's a pretty big guy to be 24 years old. He was a 2021 second-round draft pick, 39th pick overall. He's been playing with the Sacramento Kings organization. He's done pretty well. He's from Utah State. He actually joined that college program without ever visiting the college campus, so obviously he's got a lot of faith in where he decides to commit and what team. So he's 7 foot, 245 pounds, so obviously this is going to be a big center for the Boston Celtics. He actually was the GLeague MVP runner-up. No, unfortunately, he did not win, but obviously he's been dominating in the G League, getting ready to actually play in the NBA. He lost to Carlik Jones, unfortunately, but he had a dominant season, not just last year, but the year before that as well. Averaged 16 points a game last year, about 2.5 assists, not terrible. The boards, though, almost in double digits per game. But I want to point out that three-point percentage. Now, he had about a 10% three-point percentage last year and then had none. No attempts, nothing in the year before that. So clearly, he doesn't shoot any threes. That's okay, but like I said, when you've got Porzingis, you've got Horford, these are guys that can play in a center position and they can actually shoot threes. That's going to be something I want to see him work on in the G League this year, because if he is going to play for Celtics this season, he's going to need to be able to produce something from the perimeter. Now, the question is, will he play this season? I definitely think he could play this season just because Porzingis, Williams, Horford, they've struggled with injuries in the past, or even just not being able to make it to the playoffs because they've been too worn out in the regular season. So if Mazzulla decides to bring him up and play him a little bit in the regular season to give those guys some rest, I'm not against it. I think it's definitely a good idea. He's 7 feet tall. I mean, he's obviously going to do some kind of damage. Even if he stands there, he can be a wall. So there's already 3 players that are signed to two-way contracts, including Neemias Queta, and that's J.D. Davidson and Jay Scrubb. They're both guards. They were both signed actually in July. I think out of these 3 players, if anybody's actually going to have the possibility of being pulled up and playing in any kind of Celtics regular games this year, it's probably going to be Neemias, just because of what I said of the possibility of those centers being unhealthy and not being able to play. So I'm going to go with Neemias Queta and the possibility of being 1 out of 3 players to see an actual regular season game this year for the Boston Celtics. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Neemias Queta will play during the regular season? Go on ahead and drop in the comments and type Y for yes, type N for no. Now, we also talked about earlier on today's show that Malcolm Brogdon is causing a little bit of drama in the offseason. I don't blame him. He's obviously got something going on in terms of whether or not he's going to play in Boston or if he's going to leave. But Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe did put out a quote. He talked on the podcast saying, "Malcolm's the one that I'm concerned about since we've heard nothing, and he's angry with the team. So I don't think communication between the two sides have been fruitful." So somebody's not talking here, whether it's Brogdon not emphasizing enough that he wants to play for Celtics this year or he wants to leave, or Joe Mazzulla in the front office aren't sure if they're being honest with Malcolm Brogdon and saying, hey, look, this is where we want to send you. So we do know that Malcolm Brogdon was a part of the 3-team trade that was supposed to bring Porzingis to Boston and potentially put Malcolm Brogdon to the LA Clippers, but Now, LA Clippers said, we don't want him. He's got injury. So they ended up trading Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies instead. So Brogdon knew he was going to be a part of that 3-team trade. So I guess that kind of ticked him off a little bit. Or maybe he wasn't aware that he was the one being discussed about. So regardless, I'm not sure now if they're still talking about trades with Brogdon and another team before the season starts. But either way, Brogdon's not happy about it. And so he's been with Boston for a little bit. He was traded to Boston last year in 2022. He's scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent after the 2024 season. So this would possibly be his last full season. He could potentially play 2024-25 with the Celtics if nothing changes. But he's obviously producing if he just won the Sixth Man of the Year award in 2023. If Malcolm Brogdon's healthy, why would you have any discussion about getting rid of him? I understand you've got Peyton Pritchard, you've got Derek White. I know that you just got rid of Grant Williams and Marcus Smart, but I think he could actually do some damage this season if he's healthy. That's where the asterisk kind of comes in. But if he's injured, we just learned the Celtics don't want him. The Clippers don't want him, so I'm concerned to see who would want him if he was injured. He's done some damage in the regular season and with the playoffs. So he's got about 14 points per game in the regular season, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 48% field goal percentage, but he's also contending in the playoffs. So he's a good player all around. He can definitely add some weight into the to the guard position. So I'm a little bit concerned as to who's not being faithful here. He's obviously not happy. So why don't you just sit down? I know you're in the same city. You work in the same building. There's nothing worse than having drama with somebody you have to see every day. Why aren't you sitting down and discussing what your future is with the organization? Whether it's from Brogdon's perspective to the front office or vice versa. That's going to clear up a lot of stuff. This needs to go away before the season starts. The Celtics already dealt with so much before last year when Ime Udoka ended up getting suspended. They had to get another player. They had to get another coach, and then you found out Robert Williams isn't going to play until December. You don't need anything messing with your head before this season, especially if this is going to be your 18th banner year. So I think they need to squash this beef. It's getting too close this season to have all this going on, but I want to know your level of concern with Malcolm Brogdon in Boston. Go ahead and drop in the comments right there. Scale of 1 to 10, are you concerned that he's either going to play or he's going to get traded, or if this is going to linger into the regular season? And while you're at it, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button. I am the new host of Celtics Today. I'm going to be working my butt off around the clock to bring you the most up-to-date information, whether it's about Brogdon drama or somebody we just signed. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you're up to date on the latest Boston Celtics news and rumors. Guys, we are so close to the start of NBA 2023 season, so go on ahead and hit that subscribe button.